What's up guys, Kyle here again, and guess what? It's FAQ'n Friday. I'm exhausted, I had a hell of a week. I was up till 1 in the morning shooting a video last night for the Omega Granosphere. I can't wait to sleep, but you know what? I've been looking forward to answering you guys' questions all week, and I'm gonna get it out before the day's over because it's Friday, and I gotta answer your questions, right? Of course I do. You guys need me. You guys don't need me at all. I suck. All right, first question comes from my buddy Steven Alt again. Thanks for submitting a question, dude. I appreciate it. What are your thoughts on high gain orange amps such as the Thunderverb? Any chance we can hear some demos in the future? Yeah, I mean, I'm down to demo pretty much anything, honestly. Jason, the guitarist in Subdue in my band, had a Thunderverb 200 last year, 2 years ago, something like that. And he brought it to practice, and I actually was really surprised at how it sounded. I thought it sounded really good, but at that particular practice, I don't know if it was the cab or the amp itself or what, but it just sounded really narrow. Like a lot of the frequencies up top were cut off, a lot of the frequencies at the bottom were cut off, and it was just really focused in the mid-range, and you weren't getting a whole lot of like the big picture as far as like the EQ spectrum. I don't know if that's how they normally sound, because honestly I have next to no experience with orange amps. I'm interested in them, but I haven't really researched them enough to know what a good price is on like a Thunderverb or Rockerverb or anything like that, because I kind of think they're ugly. The black ones look okay, but they just never really like caught my eye, caught my interest. Aesthetics aren't a huge deal, but to me, if the amp is so ugly that I don't want to look at it, I'm not gonna buy it. So if I could find a black one, that'd be cool. For a decent price, I would definitely demo it. But overall, are they usable for heavy stuff? Absolutely. The Thunderverb sounded awesome. I think the lower you tune, the better that amp might do, because it seemed super tight and focused, which was really cool. It was not at all what I was expecting. So I will definitely try to get my hands on some orange stuff to demo in the near future. One, to broaden my horizons, and two, to give you guys, you know, more stuff to check out. So thanks for the question, Steve. Appreciate it, man. Austin Eldridge, if you could have a signature guitar made for you, what would you go with? Company, body shape, color, pickups? That's tough, man. I've thought about this a lot, like even just in a custom sense, not a signature sense, because I'll never have a signature guitar, that's fine. But if I were to make a signature, it would probably honestly be a single cut silver burst, ebony board, stainless steel frets. I've really been digging the 25.5-inch scale lately. I just like the way the tension is under my hands. It feels really nice. It would probably still be fairly Les Paul-esque. The silver burst, by the way, would have to be a teardrop. Perimeter bursts are cool, but teardrop's where it's at for silver burst. I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna argue with me on that. But yeah, so as far as body, I would probably do like a maple neck mahogany body and a maple top. Just because maple necks seem to hold their shape a little bit better because of the hardness, so you don't have to adjust them as much, in my experience anyways. And then mahogany and maple, just because I'm a huge Les Paul player and it sounds amazing. I'd probably have full thickness with a nice little tummy cut, and maybe figure out a way to round out the bevel where your arm sits, just so it's a little bit more comfortable when you're standing up playing. And a heel cut, not for me because I can't solo worth a damn, but for anybody who would potentially want it, and just because I'm a fan of modern designs that move the guitar forward, and I think that's one of them. I think it's silly that Les Paul still do that, but I understand why, because they're, you know, Gibson's fan base are a bunch of guys who basically don't want anything to ever change from 1959. So whatever, it is what it is. Anyways. Yeah, so mahogany body, maple top, maple neck, ebony fretboard, stainless steel frets. Yeah, it'd probably be a pretty bright guitar, but I like bright guitars. 25.5-inch scale, silver burst, pickups, Duncan Alpha Omega combo. At least right now, because in the last few months, that has been my favorite pickup combination. I used them in a Les Paul on our record. I got a Mark Holcomb recently with those pickups in it, and it sounds awesome. It's actually been one of my favorite guitars to play, and those pickups just sound killer. They sound great to my ear. They're super clear, very tight, no crazy like frequency spikes, so nothing gets out of hand. They're balanced, but they're clear. They cut, they punch. I mean, they have everything in a nice controlled little package, and I just really like them. I think they sound great. So that would be my signature guitar. We all have our weird or why like in the guitar world. What stupid or ugly, what the fuck guitar amps are you into? Ugly ones? Snakeskin Soldanos. I think they look awesome. Extremely 80s hair metal. But you know what? If I found one at the right price with a snakeskin Tolex, I would buy it. I think it looks cool. There's been a couple splawns with the snakeskin Tolex. I could never rock it. I've considered rocking a white half stack with like black highlights and stuff, but snakeskin Tolex Soldano, that would be it for me. As far as, it's not really an ugly amp to begin with. I just think that Tolex is just so wild looking, you know what I mean? I would go with that. That's about as crazy as I'll get. As far as guitars, I love the Gibson RDs. I know a lot of people kind of think that they're ugly or like weird shaped, or they're confused about their shape. I think they're awesome. The one that looks like a black Les Paul Custom kind of looks really dope to me. The Silverburst reissues, obviously super cool. Even the natural ones, I like those too, just as long as they have an ebony fretboard and not the maple. I don't like the maple and natural together, that's not cool. But those are kind of wonky looking guitars, really weird body shape, but I dig them anyways. John Barefoot asked me what's my favorite pickup. Thanks, John. Appreciate the question, man. Right now, the Alpha, or the Omega Bridge pickup, because I don't even really do anything with the neck pickup, is my favorite. Duncan Full Shred is up there because it's kind of got the similar thing going on. It's clear, it's not too bright, it's punchy. I wish I had a little bit more mids. That's my main complaint about it. The mids are kind of flat, not really spiked, not really scooped, but the highs are really present, so it kind of makes up for it in the cut department. But yeah, Omega, the Full Shred is awesome. For the longest time, I played Gibson 498Ts and a lot of guitars, and I honestly still do play them. I found they're pretty muddy when compared to other pickups, and that's what I don't like about them. I've actually had a couple custom winders try to wind me something that was basically like a 498T with a little bit more clarity, and it just doesn't sound the same. But they have a graininess. I mean, Gibson pickups in general have kind of like a graininess to the character. I just love. I think it makes them sound really raw and really gnarly. Gives them an angrier character than you would think. So the 498T really was my favorite pickup for the longest time. Really right up until I got the Alpha Omegas, and I switched over to those, and my ears just kind of changing to a slightly more modern pickup sound, because for a long time I was also using hot PAFs, which was inspired by the 498T. If you like hot PAFs that can do metal, Wolftone Marshall heads, check those out. They are so angry and nasty, but mean and clear and tight. If you play through a heavily saturated amp anyways, if you play through something with a lot of character, they almost don't fill out quite enough. But if you play on a 5150 or like my Diesel Herbert, something that's got a lot of just natural gain saturation, man, those pickups are unreal, even for metal. They sound awesome. They're just a hot PAF copy, hand wound by Marshall head or Wolftone. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm gonna go to sleep. So yeah, those would be my picks for my favorite pickups. There's more that I like. I'm picky, but I'm not. I have a ton of different pickups because I have a ton of different guitars, and there's a lot that I like. I don't like EMGs. I haven't met an EMG that I like yet. I don't like Duncan Blackouts. And I've tried a few of their models. I'm just not an active pickup guy for the most part. I recently got some Fishmans, moderns, ceramic. Yeah, and those sound great. Those really surprised me. For an active pickup, I think those sound awesome. So I will definitely try out more of the Fishman stuff in the near future, but not an active guy. Thoughts on the Marshall JCM 2000 DSL amp? Yes, I love that amp. I've liked it for a long time. It has its flaws. They're known to be unreliable, but I actually think that they sound awesome. I have a DSL 50 that I'll be doing a demo on in the near future here. When I had my DSL 50, the output transformer died, so I replaced the output transformer with, you guys could probably hear that, huh? I replaced my output transformer with a classic tone, vintage correct spec, so it's got the paper wound instead of plastic wound bobbin inside. I think that's it. I don't know. But yeah, they're supposed to be more vintage correct to like the older 800 style transformers. And I also had a choke installed, which doesn't seem to make a huge difference, but the amp overall just has a slightly stiffer feel when you turn it up louder. Doesn't really get any like power amp sag or anything like that. But the main mod that I did to that amp was I had my tech take this deep switch. It's a switch in, switch out. When it was in, too much bass. When it was out, the amp had no balls at all. So I'm like, hey, can we replace this with like a small adjustable pot? And he said, yes, Kyle, we can. So I did that, and now the amp is so usable. No matter what tuning you're in, guitar, cab, it just acts as a resonance knob. And instead of being all the way on or all the way off, you can adjust it to whatever particular situation you're in at the time. So that opened up the amp for me, made it, you know, way more usable. I actually sold it when I got my Friedman JJ100, and honestly, when I played them side by side, I was like, there's no reason for this JJ100 to cost 6-7 times what the JCM 2000 costs. It was crazy. I mean, obviously the Friedman's on another level in some aspects for sure, but the JCM 2000 is not a slouch whatsoever. I actually used that for a Bushido code show when we played in Canada last year, just for fun. I'm like, I want to take this thing out. This thing sounds good. I'm gonna play it. I played it. I wasn't disappointed with it at all after playing nothing but Splons and Diesels live for a while. So I mean, if anything, either A, I have a terrible ear, or B, it hangs with some of the best amps on the planet, and I think that it falls into the category of B. So definitely check them out. I'll post a demo up of mine at some point. You guys can hear that for some thrashy stuff too. Kyle Ortiz says, why are you so goddamn handsome? Which Gator noise suppressor do you prefer? Mr. Distort 6. I can't speak or function at all at this point, so Mr. Distort 6 says, which Gator noise suppressor do you prefer? Oh my good God. How many times am I gonna do this? Mr. Distort 6 says, which gate or noise suppressor do you prefer? ISP Decimator 2 is what I had for a long time. I still have it. I still use it. I love it. I have no complaints about it. Well, I guess it can be a little touchy once you get to a certain spot on the dial. But other than that, yeah, it doesn't suck any tone. It sounds great. I've never had any issues with it failing on me. Before that, I used the Boss NS2 for a long time. That one was good, obviously, but it does suck some tone, so I wanted to get away from that. Recently, I bought a package deal where I got a whole bunch of crap. And anyways, in there was a one of the little Rowan Chinese, like little mini pedal brand, noise killer pedal, and it actually functions awesome. Like, I can't hear a tonal difference between the ISP and the Rowan pedal, and I think the Rowan pedal's like 35 bucks, something like that. But anyways, it's on my board now because it leaves room for another boost, whereas having the ISP Decimator, I just didn't have enough room for 2 boosts on there, and I like to, depending on what amp I like to play, I like to use one or the other. So anyways, that replaced my ISP just on my practice and my, you know, board that I take out, which is kind of crazy to me. So I'll probably buy 1 or 2 for backups or just for other pedal boards that I build in the future. Just, they're such great value and they sound great. All right, last question from John Doe. Thank you guys for all your questions. I seriously very much appreciate it. I think it's cool to be able to interact with you guys here. And it shows me that you're watching the videos and you're wanting to interact with me too. So that's cool. I'm obviously super cool to interact with. What's your opinion on high versus medium output humbuckers for metal? I answered this in the comments, but it depends. It really does. I'm not against lower output pickups for metal at all. I mean, we were just talking about that Wolf Tone Marshall head. I have a JWR, Jim Wagner, Godwood pickup. Yeah, and one of my Les Pauls. They came in one of my Les Pauls, and that's another like kind of hot PAF. When I say hot PAF, I'm talking like it's half of what like a JB is. It's just hotter than a normal like 59 or 58 style PAF pickup. So they're not that hot in comparison to most modern pickups. But anyways, like I said, on a highly saturated amp, if you're playing a 5150 or something that has a similar gain structure, a lot of gain staging going on, I actually prefer lower output pickups because they impart more clarity and they let the tone of the guitar shine through a little bit more, whereas I noticed that super hot pickups tend to color the sound a little bit more, kind of mask what's going on. Maybe that's just me, but I like higher output pickups on amps like my Splawn that are dry, or my VHT, or my JCM 800 that is, you know, does not have a lot of gain at all, and sometimes I even have to double boost it depending on what guitar I use. So anyways, you can do both. It just depends on your situation. I mean, if you want a ton of saturation, you can get that out of the amp and not out of the pickup. The pickup's not going to make a huge difference if you're using an amp that's already, you know, way gained out, like a 5150 or something. But if you're using an amp that needs a push from the front end and just having a boost isn't enough, then yeah, you got to use a high output pickup. So really, like I said, it depends on your amp, your setup. Whether you're boosting or not will make a huge difference too. But I totally think that low output pickups are awesome for metal or even hardcores. They're awesome for the hardcores, you know, if you want to get in the pit and stuff and write some pit riffs. So yeah, that's my take. Low output pickups are just fine as long as you're playing through the right amp. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I appreciate all your questions. Please, any questions that you guys want to ask, put down below in the comment section and I will absolutely be sure to get to them next week. The channel keeps growing. I'm super surprised that it's growing as fast as it is, especially when I don't know how to function as a normal human being. But yeah, all the positive feedback I've gotten, everything you get, all the questions you guys are posing, that's awesome to me. I didn't expect to get this much interaction as soon. Makes me really happy, makes me motivated to keep pushing videos out for you guys. So yeah, please like, subscribe, share the page, share my videos, whatever gets it out there and kind of grows the community. I'm happy to, you know, answer your guys' questions or make the videos that you want to see. So I'll definitely be uploading this along with a couple others tonight, hopefully. And we'll just keep pumping out cool demos and stuff for you guys to check out. So thanks for hanging with me, and we'll see you.